Stop fighting the static and start getting the message. Whether it's fleet tech or family dynamics, we're clearing the air right here. Dial 8554 podcast and get in on the conversation. Give us your thoughts on the show, share a story, or ask a question. That's 855-476-3227 or 8554 podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Fan Boss Frequency. My name is Chris, and I'm your host today, and I want to thank you so much for hanging out and spending some time with us. If you haven't already, head over to thefanboss.com. That's our new website that has everything about the show. Comments, complaints, concerns, anything you want to leave, I'm cool with that. We also have other episodes and way to listen to the show. So make sure you visit thefanboss.com for all your Fan Boss needs. Also, you can visit our listener line at 855-4, the word podcast, 855-4-podcast. Leave a message there and let us know what you like, what you don't like. Maybe share a story with something you've heard on the air. And if we like it, we may use it on the show going forward. So without further ado, let's get today's episode rolling. So one of the things that I've tried to do on my shorts is kind of find some things that I've been dealing with or that come up in conversation quite a bit and talk about them and what my thoughts are on them, because there's a lot of things when I'm dealing with clients and different needs and things like that. I'm like, I never thought of that before. So years back when I was working with a client, they had spent a bunch of money on a system, probably about, 10 years prior. And they really didn't get what they wanted out of the deal. And they just kind of pushed the system until the bitter end. And finally they're like, we're done here. We need to do something different. And so when you start talking about cost, it kind of can overtake, your expectations very easily. So the technology changes so much these days, and the pace of innovation has really reached the point where the moment you break the seal on a new piece of hardware, it feels like the countdown to obsolescence has already started. We've all felt that sting of investing heavily in something only to see, its replacement as soon as we get it out of the box. And, like I said, once you've had a year, 18 months, it's see you buy, it's done and over with. There's something bigger and better. In the past, businesses were forced to kind of eat the costs and squeeze every last drop of life out of aging gear just to justify the initial expense. When I was in IT world, I saw this in servers all the time, and servers were absolutely the worst offenders. These companies would spend, $25,000, $30,000 on a server, and they ran mail and files and this and that, and, they'd run them to death. And, the rule of thumb is basically once you get out of service, once you can no longer service that particular piece of equipment with a service agreement and so on and so forth, it was no longer cost effective to have it on the books. And we would see people that had servers that were old enough to drive. I ran into a couple of them that were old enough to drink, actually. And I'm like, when this goes bad, it's been working for, 16 years. I'm like, dude, this thing's about to go under. Well, the cloud came and really solved that problem for a lot of people. And, Microsoft did it years ago with the Office 365 plan. Pay for what you want, on a regular basis, and away we go. And there's no more $200, $300, $400 software licenses, one-time, deals. It's you pay every single month. So I see this model in our world. It's called equipment as a service, and it's a massive shift that's taking place right now. And we see this model taking the world by storm in almost every sector, from vehicles that we drive to the softwares that's being run in offices. And think about how common vehicle leasing has become for commercial fleets, because it allows the company to cycle through the newest safety features, the fuel efficiencies, without getting stuck with a depreciating asset. Side note to that, I'm looking at doing the same thing because I'm sick and tired of all these vehicles that I buy having, issues, in that first 100,000 miles. And I got one now that, it's the cam phaser, it's this, it's that, it's whatever else. It's a $4,400 fix is what it is. So the knee jerk is to, put everything on lease and just get new trucks every 3 years. Well, now you can do it with everything under the sun. The offices, like office equipment, for example, like we see a lot of high-end copiers, and I always ask, man, that thing is, we got it under contract. I'm like, okay. Well, now people are even leasing their office furniture. Software was kind of the beginning where it all started, but we're seeing this really delve into subscription-based models for everything from office space to office furniture to printers to equipment and laptops. I got a company now that they get new MacBooks every 2 years. I was blown away by that. So the benefits of never owning technology again are actually a game changer for small businesses and growing fleets. First and foremost, it moves your expenses from a massive capital outlay that drains your cash flow into a predictable monthly operating expense. This actually gives you the freedom to scale your operation up or down based on your needs rather than being limited by the equipment you bought 3 years ago. Now, the real magic to this is in the peace of mind that comes with a true service model. When you aren't the owner, you aren't the one responsible for maintenance or the repairs or the eventual disposal of the gear. If a radio stops working or a platform needs an update, it's the provider's job to make it right because you're just paying for the service and the uptime, not just the device and the battery and the clips and all that goes with it. So for a lot of industries that we serve, especially people that are in the transportation logistics industry, they don't want to have to worry about being left behind in technology gap. They want what they need when they need it. You can stay on the cutting edge with push to talk over cellular or telematics because your agreement is basically built with an ability to pivot. When the next big breakthrough happens, you have the ability to go to that technology. You're not stuck. Well, I just bought all these dash cameras. No, we own the dash cameras. Actually, we don't. Our company that we provide them through does. And guess what? When the new stuff comes out, they're all about, let's make an agreement and upgrade to the new stuff. Same thing with our two-way radios. We have a push to talk over cellular options that give you the ability to get the radios you need without having to pay for the radios up front. And I have several school districts right now that are really looking at the aspect of never having to deal with it ever again. They're already paying for software that they can't put their hands on, and they love it because it produces or they get something else. It's quite simple. So the shift toward access over ownership is more than a financial strategy. It's about staying agile in a world that never really stops moving. When you stop worried about the age of your equipment and start focusing on more of the quality of your work, you're no longer managing that museum of old tech, or you're not, you have the best of what's available at any given moment. And by the way, you can add and subtract as need be. If you've got, a temp crew coming on for a couple of months to do a project, get what you need for a couple of months. You don't have to buy all that stuff. And when they're gone, you're like, well, crap, now I got 15 extra radios I don't need. So there's a lot of advantages to equipment as a service. There's also tax benefits to it as well. That's way above my pay grade, and I pay somebody good money to figure that stuff out for me. So it's definitely a question worth asking. Should I buy new radios, or should I just, equipment as a service, EAAS, as they like to call it? I think it would do you well to take a look at what your options are in that regard and see what works best for your company, because one of the biggest things we've learned going equipment as a service is we have what we need. We can get as little or as much as we want, and it's actually fairly cost effective. Whereas before, we were like, oh man, we got to spend $50,000 on a truck. That ain't good. Well, nobody wants to spend that kind of money on a truck, but these days it's what they cost. So leasing has always been popular in car world. When I was sold vehicles to commercial accounts, everybody that got a company vehicle from Mercedes leased them, and they would roll all their service and everything into it. So basically they stroked one check a month for everything that was all inclusive. You can do the same thing with us as well. So visit dccipro.com to find out more about the Freedom Bundle and the other packages and offers over there as far as never owning your equipment again, and see how they can benefit you on that deal. As far as the podcast goes, visit our podcast page at thefamboss.com to learn more. And if you have any questions or like to hear other episodes, you can find them there. You can also leave a message on our listener line at 855-4podcast. That's 855-4 podcast. Let us know what you think of everything. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.